Welcome to the Widescreen Week in Review for the first week of March 2016. This week's Widescreen Week in Review is sponsored by our very own WSGF Ultimate Desk Stand. It's the only multi-monitor stand on the market designed to grow with you and your gaming rig. It supports 3x1 landscape and 1+3 landscape with up to 27-inch panels, and it will also support 5x1 portrait with up to 25-inch panels. Built by the leader in ergonomic monitor solutions, the Ergotech Group, and available exclusively through the Widescreen Gaming Forum. The WSGF Ultimate Desk Stand will meet your display needs today and tomorrow. First up, we have AI Space Core. It's a top-down space shooter from Game Art Studio that was released just recently in February. It received gold support ratings for widescreen and ultra-wide due to perfect horizontal plus support. It has limited support in multi-monitor. There it has horizontal plus support across multiple panels, but the menus and menu text become too big to read or use. 4K Ultra HD is yet untested at this time. Also from Game Art Studio, we have AI Invasion. It's a top-down squad ground shooter that was released back at the end of September. Similar to AI Space Core, it has gold support ratings for widescreen and ultra-wide with perfect horizontal plus support. It has limited support for multi-monitor, again for the same reasons that the menu and menu text becomes too big to read or use, and 4K is untested here as well. Next up, we have Stronghold Crusader HD. It's the HD update of the classic RTS Stronghold Crusader. It receives a gold support for widescreen. Ultra-wide, multi-monitor, and 4K are all unsupported. It has pixel-based support up to 2560 by 1440. All resolutions supported are hard-coded. Pixel-based means that the higher res you have, the more you see, either horizontal or vertical. Next up, we have Alien Rage Unlimited. It's a sci-fi themed, old-school style first-person shooter from CI Games. It has silver support rating for widescreen, limited support for ultra-wide and multi-monitor, and 4K is untested. In a unique situation, it has a separate executable for single-player and multiplayer. There are a number of issues which can be fixed for single player using the Flawless Widescreen app. These issues also affect multiplayer but cannot be fixed. For full details on what those issues are, check out the detailed report entry on the WSGF. Links are below. Here we have Yosumin. It's a puzzle matching game from Square Enix that was released way back in November of 2007. Widescreen, ultra-wide, multi-monitor, and 4K are all unsupported. There are no resolution options in the game. Full screen mode is a pillar boxed 4x3 and it uses your first available resolution in widescreen. A windowed mode is a fixed 800 by 600 output, which could be kind of tiny on high-res monitors. Here we have Iggy's Egg Adventure. It's a platformer from Ginger Labs. It has gold support for widescreen. Ultra-wide and Multi-Mon both receive silver ratings, and 4K is untested. For widescreen, it's anamorphic up to 16 by 9. At ultra-wide and Multi-Mon, the game is natively vertical minus, but a simple INI edit allows you to adjust the field of vision and get horizontal plus. For details on this INI edit, check out the entry on the WSGF. Next up is Red Faction 2 from THQ, released way back in April of 2003. It has limited support ratings for widescreen, ultra-wide, and Multi-Mon. 4K is untested. Widescreen, ultra-wide, and multi-monitor resolutions are all natively detected. However, the native support is to stretch the 4x3 aspect ratio image across your modern display configuration, whatever the type. Widescreen Fixer will correct the aspect ratio and set the proper field of vision. The in-game HUD is still stretched and spans multi-monitor configurations. There are plenty of screenshots and more details on the WSGF. Morning's Wrath is a fantasy action RPG from Ethereal Darkness Interactive Games. It has limited support for widescreen, ultra-wide, multi-monitor are unsupported, and 4K is untested. Some complex areas of the game have layering issues in Direct 3D mode when using resolutions higher than 1440 by 900. This causes some objects in the game to draw on top of the interface, while other objects flicker between visibility states. You can see details of that here in these screenshots, and there are additional details on the WSGF. Next up, we have Far Cry Primal, which was obviously a big release here recently. It's a prehistoric FPS from Ubisoft. It's the latest entry in the Far Cry series. It has gold support for widescreen, ultra wide, and 4K, meaning perfect support across the board there. It received the silver support rating for ultra wide. So the game is what we call vertical plus, from 4x3 through ultra wide. For more details on what vertical plus means, you can check out the WSGF. There is a field of vision adjustment slider in the game, which lets you set the field of vision to your preference. Multi-monitor support is perfect from a HUD perspective, but it has FOV issues. The game is vertical minus in multi-monitor, and even with making adjustments with the FOV slider, you don't get to a point where it's horizontal plus, and it's still slightly vertical minus. For more information, including a large number of screenshots and comparisons at different FOV settings, be sure to check out the entry on the WSGF. Next up, we have Our Nation's Miner, which is a top-down sci-fi shooter released by Lord Bytesworth in 2015. It got gold support for widescreen and ultra-wide. It received a silver support rating for multi-monitor, and 4K is untested. Works perfectly in widescreen and ultra-wide, obviously, with the gold rating. The only issue on multi-monitor is that the HUD is not centered. Next, we have Cornerstone Song of Tyrim. It's a multi-genre game that blends open-world exploration, an action RPG, puzzle solving, and crafting. It is developed by Overflow Games and was recently released here in April of 2016. It received gold support ratings for perfect support in widescreen and silver support for ultra-wide. It only has limited support for multi-monitor, and as in many cases, 4K is untested. The game's full screen mode is a type of borderless windowed. Unlisted resolutions can be set with a command line switch or by editing the registry. Details on both of these methods are in the detailed report on the WSGF. Again, links below. It does have horizontal plus gameplay across the board. The full motion video scenes are cropped in ultra wide and multi-monitor. And finally, for this week, we have Viking, Battle of Asgard. It's an action-adventure developed by the Creative Assembly and was released back in 2012. It received silver support ratings for widescreen and ultra-wide, limited for multi-monitor, and 4K is untested. A game setup tool will detect and list all resolutions. However, there's a tick box for display-only recommended resolutions, and that limits the resolutions that it offers to just 5x4, 4x3, and 16:9 aspect ratios, and only those with 60 Hz support. Uncheck this box and you can get ultra-wide and multi-monitor resolutions in the list. The HUD is stretched in ultra-wide and multi-monitor, and it's pretty painfully stretched in multi-monitor. There is an FOV fix available from PC Gaming Wiki, which we have linked to in our detailed report, which increases the field of vision from 60 to 80 degrees. So thanks everybody who contributed this week to either creating new or updating existing detailed reports. We couldn't do it without our great community, and thank you all. Thanks for watching this week's Widescreen Week in Review. If you're able to test any of the games featured here in any of the display configurations where we don't have information, please feel free to update the detailed report yourself with matching screenshots. Or you can log on to our Discord server and share the screenshots there. One of our volunteer staff will be happy to upload them for you. If you'd like to help support the WSGF output of game testing and analysis, please consider supporting our newly created Patreon. All proceeds from the Patreon go directly to our testing community to fund the purchase of games for testing. Links for both the Discord server and the Patreon are listed in the description below.